Hello and welcome to my channel, and thanks for joining me as I'm following along with this Junk Journal July challenge for 2024. And in my description box is a link to the video by Meg Journals introducing this challenge, and so you can find all the information there. So today I'm going to be working on the prompt of number 15 or day 15, homemade. So if you do follow me, you know that I have been behind. I started about a week late or so, and I haven't done this every day. Just haven't been able to work on it every day, and sometimes I just didn't want to. So I didn't. So a lot of things come to mind when I think of homemade. I think of my chicken noodle soup. I think of cookies. I think of this journal. I think of cards. But I decided to go with quilts because that is something I really enjoy that's homemade. And I don't make them for myself very often. I'm not very good at it, so I do like to purchase them though. And so I cut out some paper strips here because I want to cover this entire page and make it look like a quilted piece or a quilted page with paper, of course. And one of the reasons I wanted to cover this button page is uh, the opposite side I'm going to be using for the button prompt later on. And I've already done the packaging prompt on the opposite side, so I wanted to tie in the buttons there. So I don't need, 3 or 4 button pages. So I'm just going to cover this up and make it a quilt page. So I cut a piece of paper that is almost as wide as the page in the signature and just as tall. I didn't want to go all the way to the left because I didn't want to get into the fold and make it really bulky. So I added a piece of washi tape there that's kind of in a neutral color that I thought would fit the papers that I'm working with. And so I'm just going to set this journal aside, and then it'll be so much easier for me to piece together the pieces on the paper rather than trying to do that on the journal. So now I'm just going to start uh, laying the quilt pieces or the paper pieces onto my paper backing here, and I'm going to start with the 2 longest pieces and put those right in the middle and work from there. And I've inked all the edges in the pumice stone or pumice stone. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. The ink by Tim Holtz, and it's the ink I've been using pretty much throughout the whole journal. And I just thought that would help give the pieces some definition and maybe look like that's where the stitching is or the seam, and give it a little bit of depth. So first I'm going to lay all my pieces down, and then once I've kind of figured out where I want them to be, then I'll go ahead and glue everything down. So now everything's glued down. I need to just trim around the edges of the card and I'll have a nice, neat little quilt piece. So I just had one corner left to fill in and I just trimmed a piece off of one of the strips that was already glued onto the paper, and then I just added that to the corner and was able to finish it off. So I ran the whole thing through my embossing folder to give it that top stitch look, like the whole thing is quilted. And so I think it came out pretty cool. So now I'm going to glue this into my journal. All right, I've got this glued onto the page. It's looking really good. And I found a little piece of ephemera that came with this paper collection, and I've just backed it with some pink paper, and I added a little wink of Stella to the heart there, and I'm just gonna glue it on the page right about there. So this is a very simple page, but I think for now this is all I'm going to do. I do have this little pair of scissors that I think would look cute along the little title there, but it's kind of bulky, so I don't want to put it on until towards the end of when I'm finished with the journal. So I thought I would jump in here and show you this page here, and I did not record this because I have a super bad cold and sneezing and headache and sniffling, and I just, not only that, I just did not make this page all in one shot. Like when I'd get off the couch, I would come in and do this because I am feeling so bad. But anyway, as I was making, I had made two of these at the same time. I just only showed you one when I was recording this page here. I had wanted to coordinate these pages, and I don't know what I was gonna do. I just thought I'd have this piece ready to go for anything. But then it hit me as I was making this, I'm making a scrappy quilt of paper, and that's what quilters did. They took their scraps and made these kinds of quilts. So it's a scrappy quilt. It's homemade, but it's also scrappy, and so why not coordinate these two and make them, the same. I mean, really could use the same uh, prompts for both pages. So, um, and and I thought, well, why does, originally I was gonna do a page like I've seen some other people do with a bunch of little torn up scrappy pieces on the page, and I thought, well, why did my scraps have to be torn up? I mean, these scraps that I had left over from some projects were not torn up. I'd cut them, so, and I needed them just straight edged for this. So I don't know why I don't know why I thought I had to do torn up scraps. Scraps are scraps, right? Whether they're torn up or not. So anyway, so I thought, well, that's cool. So I'll make a pocket, but then as I was, fiddling around, I thought, I'd rather make, excuse me, I'd rather make this a tag. Do not sneeze. Do not sneeze. So it was super easy, just cut it to a tag shape, and then I covered this with the vintage pink on the back. I made the hole reinforcers by taking a couple pieces of this washi tape and attaching that to some paper, and then using my hole punch or hole die from Elizabeth Craft Designs. Hole reinforcer, that's the word I'm looking for. And then I just cut out this little piece of ephemera, and this is from that shop that I mentioned before. It's in the description box. I don't know how to pronounce it. And I just attached it with a cute little ball pin and a pearl, because you know you always use the pins in quilting. And then I added a little gem to my scissors to bling it up and kind of tie in with the ribbon here. So I found this creamy ribbon in my stash with the shiny edges, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's perfect for what I'm wanting to do. And then the pocket, I just used this gray paper, and the back of this floral paper, it had a blue gingham on it. And I embossed the pocket because I didn't know I was going to cover it all up with lace, but anyway, I thought the lace gave it a more vintage feel, because that's kind of the look I'm going for. I'm going for my grandmother's home. Her home, her house. It was very beautiful, vintage. It wasn't torn up and tattered, but it was just gorgeous. And this just reminds me of some of the quilts that she made and pieced together. And so that's the look I'm going for. That's going to be what's included in my journaling. So my pages are going to reflect my journaling, and that's the whole point for me, I think, in this journal. So I did add a few little pearls onto the lace just to further bling it up, and I might do a little bit of a tattered and torn. I have this little scrap of paper, or fabric. Okay, I'm really losing it. And I might cut it down just a little bit more so it's not so big, but I might make a little tab there just to tie over some of the junky aspects of the journal, because this is looking pretty vintage and simple, but it's not too junky, you know what I mean? So I might add that with a little pin right there just to kind of tie in that. But I'm just going to wait and see what I'm doing on the other side. This page came out super thick. I was going to make it a pocket and decided against it because it's so thick. It's like chipboard now. And I haven't even done anything to the other side yet. So anyway, so that's what I did, and that's what I came up with. And I'm so glad I got through this without sneezing or sniffling too much. I do apologize about that. And so let me know what you think. Did you like my idea of a scrappy quilt? And does it fit your idea of a scrappy page? I'm interested to know. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and those thumbs up would be so greatly appreciated. And please leave a comment. It just lets me know that you're out there, and gives me somebody to connect to. And I've been just sitting here by my lonely self in my craft room since I've been sick. Anyways, I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.